Self-discovery is often talked about as something empowering, and it can be. You start paying attention to yourself. You notice patterns. You reflect more honestly. But there's a part of this process that doesn't get named very often. Self-discovery can also feel quietly lonely. Not dramatic, not obvious, just isolating in a subtle way. A lot of people who find their way to this kind of work are thoughtful, introspective, and sincere. They're not avoiding themselves. They're not asleep to their inner world. In fact, they're usually doing more inner work than the people around them. And that's often where the loneliness starts. Because self-discovery, by default, becomes a solitary activity. You read on your own. You reflect on your own. You notice patterns on your own. And over time, even though you understand yourself better, you don't necessarily feel more met. You feel clearer, but also more alone with that clarity. This isn't because something is wrong with you. It's because insight on its own doesn't provide context. Understanding yourself doesn't automatically answer questions like, where do I bring this? Who can hold this with me? What actually helps me integrate what I'm seeing? Without those answers, inner work can slowly turn inward. Reflection becomes rumination. Awareness becomes self-monitoring. Growth starts to feel heavy instead of grounding. What's often missing isn't effort. It's shared context. Humans don't regulate, integrate, or make meaning in isolation, even the very self-aware ones. We need mirroring. We need language that resonates. We need to hear someone else name something we've been carrying quietly. Not to fix us, not to give advice, just to let the nervous system settle through recognition. That's why self-discovery doesn't actually mature in isolation. It matures in relationship, not dependency, not oversharing, just being in spaces where your inner experience doesn't need to be translated or minimized, where you're not too much for being reflective and not too quiet for not having everything figured out. A lot of people don't need another framework or explanation. They need a place where their inner world fits, a place where reflection can become shared, where insight has somewhere to land, and where growth doesn't have to be carried alone. That's why I built a small community around this work. Not as a course, not as something to keep up with, but as a place for thoughtful people to explore these questions together at their own pace. If you've ever felt like self-discovery made you clearer, but also more isolated, this is for you. If you're looking for a space like that, you're welcome to join. The link to the community is below. No pressure, just an invitation.